Hi, everyone. I'm Allison Ramsey with the Empire Life podcast, where we help entrepreneurs to launch online empires. And we talk with entrepreneurs from all around the globe about their already existing online empires and a lot of the challenges that they face as entrepreneurs. And here we are with Andrew Padilla. He is
Hello.
the like that. I like when you do. He is the connector, and he connects businesses with their audience through video. And I'll hand it over to him to intro himself a little bit more.
Yeah, so hello everybody. My name is Andrew Padilla. I'm 19 years old. Started my entrepreneur journey when I was 17. Started my own first business manufacturing soccer cleats. And I learned a lot from the business, but I realized I was very, very set alone in my own skill set, and I can able to broaden it. And I was very good at networking. Like kind of like Allison, she's able to connect people with their audiences, connect people with podcasts. And I just felt like I wanted to bring even more value to the table and connect my network with people like everyday entrepreneurs, people who want to start their own business. And now we have our own production set. We work out of Chicago, and we work with companies that want to get better with video and help them boost their brand.
Cool. I love it, Andrew. So to dive right in, when you're starting to work with a company, what are some of the things that you notice, like, oh, this company is not quite on point with reaching their audience? What are like the top, let's say like the top 3 things that they're doing where you're like, no, we got to stop doing that. We need
Yes.
to do this.
So basically, I look at their website. If they don't have a website, number one, you're not getting anybody into your office. You're going out. So we don't even deal with those people. So I look at the website first. I look at their description about themselves, about their company, and I really, really advise companies, because if you ever gone on a website and it's just like scrolling through paragraphs,
Yes.
right? Boring. You're like, I'm gonna go do something else. This is just, I don't even know where I'm getting at. That's number one problem, is people write too much on their websites and they don't concise it down. So number one is being able to shorten the attention span. I think we have attention spans around 5 to 7 seconds. So being able to shorten it up and have attention span with video in a quick 60 to 90 seconds is what we recommend. After that, we want to see their face. If someone's trying to sell me a course or sell me a product and I don't know who they are, that's going to be a little bit of a barrier with the trust. So we always say be authentic. So number one is concise. Number two is authentic. Be authentic with your word. Be authentic with who you are, and open up to people. And number three is I want to be able to recognize your brand when I hop on your website. If I hop on your Facebook, for example, I want to be able to know what you do, who you are, and what you're going to sell me in very, very short timing. If I go on to www.lawyers.com, I know what I'm getting. But if I go on a website, like Empire Life Podcast, I want to know, what's going on. So we really recommend being able to concise and shorten that up.
Yeah, I love that answer. So in the process of concising it and shortening it up, that means like a lot less text, right?
Yes.
And more focus on, more
The
focus on
video.
like seeing your face and interaction, like maybe some action.
Yes. We live in the video society. Everything online, if you see on Facebook, the things that get the most engagement organically are videos. It's not paragraphs anymore. It's not articles. Forbes, they're switching all of their stuff over to video because they're noticing more traffic. So that's the thing. I want to be able to see who you are and be able to connect with you. Because if I'm talking to you right now, I'm having a two-way conversation. That's the same thing with video. People have to get at. Have a two-way conversation. Have something that people can relate to, and you'll be surprised what you'd be engaged with.
Yeah, I have chills right now because that's so true.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I personally receive a lot of DMs every day saying, hey, I love this video that you were in. This really ignited something inside of me, ignited my fire. And that personally, even though I'm coding and we have a team of developers, designers, and we're primarily designing and coding, like that personal development for me really keeps me going a lot of days when I hear about
Yes.
how
Yeah, it definitely helps out. It
yeah.
definitely helps out because a lot of people can see who you are, and they can relate to Allison Ramsey for who she is, what she posted in her last video, and they see your facial expressions, everything. So it's all important.
Yeah, there was another point of that I wanted to touch on in really being authentic. You had talked about being vulnerable. What does that mean exactly within the online space? And is there limits to this vulnerability? Like, can you go into that a little bit more?
Yeah. So the vulnerability I don't mean is, hey, Facebook, I'm making a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. Open up and show you what I'm doing every single second of the day. No, it's not like that at all. In fact, vulnerability is very, very hard. Most people, and it's very hard to open up. Just not even on Facebook, in person. Someone tells me what's going on. What is the usual response? I'm fine, right? I'm fine. I'm okay. But taking that response onto Facebook and opening up, hey, I'm struggling with something. Hey, I need advice, right? I'm curious. What do you guys do? I want to open up. I want to show you what's going on. So being vulnerable to me is showing them a process, showing them what I'm going through, them an actual human being. Because a lot of entrepreneurs nowadays, they show their good side, their glamorous side, right? And although that's all fun and I support it 100%, the grind, the money game, I love it. But I want to know what you did before. Like, who are you? I want to know what you struggled with because you're a human being. We all have struggles. So that's what I mean by vulnerability, because once you do that gap, once you break open, you start to realize the world is your oyster and you are true who you are, and you're a true lover of yourself. That's another thing too.
Oh yeah, that's a huge thing. And something for me that always comes up is when you have something to hide, it's always that thing that a lot of times people find. Whereas if you have nothing to hide and you open up and put that out there, there's really nothing that you're trying to hide. So there's
Right.
nothing that anybody can say that's going
Right.
to offend you or throw you off your game. Or
Right.
what's your opinion about that?
And yeah, I want to touch upon that because a lot of people are gonna be like, well, I don't want to open up. I'm just a regular, dentist working 9 to 5, or I just have my own like law practice. And my thing is to you is, okay, if you open up and people comment, hey, haters, like, hey, you don't look good, like, hey, your hair's all whack, that is starts to fade away, and people actually understand who you truly are. So my objection I usually get is, I don't want to open up because people will make fun of me. Once you really understand vulnerability, you really understand yourself and you really hone down on who you are as a person. And then you start to accept. It's a funny thing that happens. So I recommend just open up a simple step, like simple vulnerability. I can give you an example. Just post a video or post a segment on what you're trying to achieve. Like, what does Andrew Padilla mean to me in my own words? What does Allison Ramsey mean in your own words? And just start to open up that way, because who doesn't love talking about their self? And you can do it in a great, concise, but also real way.
Wow, I love that advice. So what would you suggest, like a 1 to 2 minute Facebook Live on this is kind of who Andrew Padilla is, or
Yeah,
who that
yeah.
person is?
So I normally strive for 2 to 3, 2 to 3, but you can go 1 to 2. Make it very, very short and concise, because you got to grab attention, and you got to grab notice of who you are. So for example, like I have a kind of like a slogan in the beginning. You can develop a slogan. You can develop engagement, like, hey, comment below, like what your name is, who you are. I'd love to hear from you. And it's fun. People love it, and you start to get more people connected to you. You see this funny thing that happens, and people start to enjoy your presence.
Yes, that is so true. And people start to reach out to you and say, I want more. Like, I
Mhm.
like this, seeing you every day.
Mhm.
This has been so inspiring.
Yes, people start to reach out and they want you to bring attention. They want to get attention from you.
A huge question I have for you also that I hear come up with our clients is, well, okay, I can start doing some Facebook Lives and be more present and more visible, but then I'm hearing crickets. Like, how how do you advise that? Like that time frame in between when people are starting to be engaged with you and they necessarily aren't as fast as you thought they were?
So can you rephrase the question? I know what you're
Sure.
saying. You're saying like people hop on the live interview and they jump off, and Is that what you're saying? Like engagement?
Yeah, that maybe they're not getting as many comments or as much engagement as they would like to, and then they
Okay.
get discouraged, and
Okay.
they're not realizing that that engagement, as you were talking about, people like, oh, I love seeing you every day, though that might be 15 days after I've been on live every day that I got messages like that. So
Yeah.
how do you encourage people, or what's your advice about that time frame where you really get a lot of engagement?
I think number one is most important. You got to have a message, right? You got to be able to connect with your audience. Like I said earlier, have a two-way conversation. So immediately when you hop on live, ask the audience to help you out. People love asking, people love when people ask for advice. I say personally, hey, comment below, where you're from, comment below, how's your day going? Give me some hearts. I'm telling the audience, I'm actually connecting with them, telling them what to do because people want to be told what to do. Then after that point, they want to see consistency. Like you said, 15 days, you started getting engagement. Nobody's going to talk to you on a one-way conversation on your first Facebook Live video. It's not going to happen because why? I'll tell you why. They don't see your face enough. They have to have brand recognition. So when you show the audience consistency, they show you respect. And after respect, they show you comments, they show you engagement, they show you love, they show you views, shares, etc. But hop off the live video after your first live video. How about this? Hop off the live video, have a message with each person that watched this video, each person that liked the video. Say, I really enjoy you hopping on my video. It's complete generosity. How about that? Try different ways of engagement and be online, and people will actually be more engaged. You got to have a message as well.
Yes, that is so true. And I know I've received some messages from you, and you often do that when you do a podcast. You're like, hey, check out my latest podcast. And I love that because it's very personal. I love that
Yes.
you do. I love that you do that. That is
Yeah.
a great marketing tool that a lot of people are not taking the time to do with the direct messaging. It's so personal.
And that's another thing. The direct messaging, we have the power to literally hop on our phone and type a 2-second message to somebody just to see how they're doing. Because it might be that one person that, hey, made their day and made them feel good, and then later can turn into business. But if you're looking for engagement and you're not having a connection with your audience outside the online space or outside the phone call interview, might as well look kiss it goodbye because you're not going to get anything out of it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and another thing that I do a lot of times when I see that somebody's continuously liking my post, I'll reach out to them on DM, even if we've never talked before. And like, I love your support. Thank you
Yeah.
so much for being part of the tribe. And they're just ecstatic. And then I notice that they're liking even more because
Yes.
they see that they're noticed. They want to be seen and heard.
Even the haters, I
Yeah.
reach out. I
Oh,
do. I
wow.
say, this is something, I reach out to them. I ask them what's going on because when people comment on your videos saying, bad things or, mumbo jumbo, angry faces everywhere, they don't really they're not expressing that to you. They're expressing about themselves. So something that's going wrong in their life, they're expressing outward externally to you, trying to make you feel bad. So it's never you. Remember that it's never you they're hating on
Mm-hmm.
themselves. So I
Yeah.
reach out to them, see what's going on. I say, hey, I saw this message. How can we take care of this? Is there something I can do for you? What's going on here? Most of the time, they have a little confronted message back. But overall, we start to connect. And at some point, I've actually turned my haters into fans. And it's a great thing to see because once you reach out to somebody personally, they'll appreciate you more so than you're just having this Facebook image.
Oh, yes. Yes, because I've had the opposite experience where I wanted to reach out to somebody personally, and I felt that they were super friendly, and then my message was never read. And that's a
Yeah.
huge like, not even looked at. And I'm like, oh, wow, I thought I was, great and important enough for them. They responded to my comment, but my direct message was never even read. So for
Yes.
me, when I had that feeling, I decided I will answer and I will look at every single direct message that I receive. And at least, even like you were saying, like at least 2 or 3 words back to them, or one word of like, I really appreciate you reaching out to me. It's
Yes.
so simple.
If you look, there's influencers on Instagram, Facebook, social media, and it's categorized in 3 types of ways. There's micro, there's macro, and there's mega. Now, we're usually right now, I'm in the micro / macro phase. I'm trying to transition to macro, but if you look at the people that have around 400 to 500,000 subscribers, right? You look on their page, you'll notice something that's very, very key to why they're going so far. Every single message, every single comment, they comment back. Every single time I message them, they give me a heart, they respond something short. They're developing relationships. That's the key here. They're developing relationships with people. So if you want to go to the next level, you got to start down here with who your tribe is right now and start to connect with them. Then you can level up from there. But if you're just down here and you're ignoring the people that actually like what you're doing, then you're not having a relationship and you're not going to be going to the next level of an influencer.
Wow. Yeah, that is so true. That's so amazing. And so before we hop off, I wanted to also really dive in with what really makes someone an influencer. So we've touched on the authenticity, being vulnerable, and the relationships. Is there anything else that you wanted to add to that or advice?
Yeah. I say definitely become an influencer. Everyone's become an influencer nowadays, right? We see all this motivation online. People are messaging me like, go do it, bro. Heck yeah. I'm like, dude, I love it. I love the heart. I love the work. But make yourself different. Literally, don't be a copycat. If you want to be an influencer, you got to have a message that sticks out to people. That's your own opinion. I can't repeat someone else's, or I can't quote someone else and get famous. It doesn't happen. You have to have an opinion, and it might be strong opinionated, but it will definitely drive home definitely what you're trying to do. In that case, you get better audience, more people. So you have to have an opinion, and I just say do something different than what everyone else is doing. Do something different than motivation. Do something different than quoting people. Do something different than what I'm doing, what else doing. Do something different that's going to strike an attention and get people to get noticed into what your brand is. That's what I recommend.
Yeah, and also aligned with who they actually are. Like, really getting, like, you're really true in your purpose, that you're the connector, and that's part of your life purpose. And I feel like that's somewhat of a first step for the entrepreneurs to realize what's my true purpose. And then coming from that point, and people feel that, oh, they're really living out their life's mission. I want some of that. I want to figure out what they're doing. They're so passionate. People are really connected with this.
Yeah. And another thing is, for the people out there right now that do not know who they are, right? People out there that say, Andrew, I love to talk about myself. I just don't know who I am. Okay. This is one thing I did, and it literally changed my life. I sat down. I took my phone away. I took 3 weeks off the grid completely. Didn't talk to anybody. I just literally figured out who I was by reading books, spending time with myself, and learning to love my true self. So don't get frightened by the thought of going online. I know it's very scary, but one thing I do suggest is really focus on yourself first. Shut up. Get off Facebook. Get off all the social medias. Focus on who you are. Then once you know who you are and love yourself, then bring it to the table. But until then, you have to focus on who you are, yourself first before other people.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's so true. Are there any other gold nuggets, Andrew, that you would like to share with the audience?
I know basically just being able to connect with people is the name of the game. If you look at my Facebook page, I'd love to connect. I'd love to be able to show you who I am on a deeper level. And just remember, it's always gonna be an uphill battle with your brand. And being able to show your true face with video could be the answer to level up your game. And I'm a believer in talk the talk and walk the walk. If you're not talking through your Facebook, if you're not talking through anybody, nobody's gonna know who you are. So talk the talk and walk the walk. That's probably what I have to say finally.
Perfect. Thank you so much for joining us today, Andrew, the connector.
Thank you so much for having me. I loved it. It was awesome. I love this podcast you got going on. So if you guys want to follow me on my Twitter or my Instagram, Drew Padilla 11, and you can look me up, Andrew Padilla, the connector on Facebook, and I'd love to have a conversation.
Yeah, perfect.